Emilio Estefan, thank you so much for joining us. You know, you are a world-renowned music, television, film, and now Broadway producer who's helped launch the careers of so many of the world's best-known Latin artists. But you're also somebody who has spent a lot of time in the public service realm, or being awarded by the federal government in different ways, whether it's the Presidential Medal of Freedom, whether it's one of the coolest prizes they give out here in Washington, the Gershwin Prize for Popular Song that you and your wife Gloria share. You know, it's great to be able to spend some time with you. You're also, and since 2009, involved in the establishment of the National Museum of the American Latino, which is something you continue today, which of course was formally established by Congress a few years ago, but is still sorting out exactly where it's going to be here in Washington and what it's going to be about. And so we wanted to spend some time talking to you a little bit about that, and sort of where things stand in terms of what you have to do also to raise about $500 million to make it happen. So what is your understanding of where the museum sits at this point, and what more needs to be done?
You know, it's going to be a lot of questions. People are going to ask questions, where it's going to be, who's going to approve, who's disapprove. Always say, you know, they have a lot of questions, especially in the Congress, to pass the legislation. I think what happens, you know, we've been working over 20 years in order to, you know, for this, and probably it's going to take another 10 or 15 or 20 years to happen. I mean, we have no agenda. To us, it's a celebration of the American dream. We were working so hard to make this something that people feel proud, the whole community, because especially, I think America offered this incredible support for minorities. And I think, you know, this will be an incredible thing to show people how successful and how many people from Latinos. I mean, we're 19% of the population. And now with the second generation, they're going to have a lot of questions. How did it happen? How the San Agustin became the first of the cities in America? And I think that's the agenda that we have, to talk to them. Like I said, yeah, I've been through this a lot with a lot of the congressmen. And they're always going to have a lot of questions, and we're willing to go back to them and talk to them to be sure that they understand. I think especially the Latino, the Congress, they really want to work with us, but I think it's going to take a little time to explain to them to approve this. Of course, we raise the money. We're going to need the approval first, because, you know, then the people want to know where it's going to be. I mean, we definitely want to be in a good place that represent the pride of the Latino community, and we're working on that very hard. But, you know, I have faith that this is going to happen. I mean, one thing, most of us that we're working, we don't want to be alive probably when this happens. So, you know, it's no agenda. We want to make sure that, you know, that this come true, because, like I said, to me, it's a celebration to the American dream.
So why does this museum need to be on the National Mall?
Well, why not? I mean, we have the minorities. A lot of minorities has been in the mall. I mean, the African American, the Indian, the American Indian. I mean, and you know something, I think being in the mall represent that we accomplish something, the respect of the people that love America, the people that want to be sure that, you know, we live a history of appreciation and thankful to this incredible country. And, you know, I hope that, you know, this goes and we get a good place to realize that, you know, that we really want to express and show the history and all the accomplishments and things that the Latinos are doing in this country.
You got to raise $500 million in order to match about $500 million from the federal government to build the museum. This has been done before with monuments to World War II, the African American History Museum, and others. How is that process going? And what's the pitch to somebody when you're trying to get them to give money?
Listen, we have a lot of successful Latinos companies in the States, like, oh my God, the Bacardi, the Goya. I mean, so many incredible things. The thing they're going to ask questions, where it's going to be, how it's going to show, what is going to happen, what it's going to represent. But I have faith. I have faith that, you know, even having 19% of the population, 127, 97 Latinos in the States, we're going to come through. I mean, we need to show them where it's going to be, what is going to happen, and then it's going to be fantastic, because, you know, they're going to feel the pride. And I think that's what we're looking for, to be sure that we get to especially the next generation. I mean, the next generation that is the Latino descent, they're going to have the pride to make a contribution. We have a lot of wealthy Latinos now, and I think they definitely want to be part of that. And, they just have a lot of questions. I mean, when you start something, people have questions, and we want to get the right answers, and we want to be sure that that this will be something that I know is going to happen. You see that it's going to happen.
There's been some controversy about the various exhibits that either were being planned or that will ultimately appear in this museum, questions about the history and about the focus. To you, as a board member and somebody who's been involved in this project longer than many, ultimately, at the end of the day, what do you want to see in this museum? What do you think should be there for people to better understand the Latino story?
Well, it's going to be a lot of things, but we have to go all the way to when a lot of the cities are named Latino descent, and I think more than anything else, they're going to have a lot of questions. And that's what I think the communication between the questions and the people who's putting together. That's not me. I just there to support and to be sure that we raise the money and to be sure that we get the mutual respect between both parties. But I think they're going to have a lot of questions, and that's what I feel. I feel that having a meeting and having some not only one meeting, many meetings, that we accomplish exactly what everybody wants. But at the end, it has to be the truth. I mean, some of the things that that Latino contribute to America, and something we come from different countries, and something. I feel that at the end has to be like one flag, one color of Latino thankful to United States. We need to be sure that people feel that we do this with a lot of respect. On the same time, we want to recognize people that went through a lot at the beginning, like the African American, the American Indian. I mean, many. It was a lot of confusion. I mean, they told me my music will never work. And I say, it's going to work because I believe in people. And I believe people have very open mind to accomplish a lot of things. We live in the best country in the whole world. And something, I wanted this to be a celebration for the American people and a way to say thankful to everything that we accomplished in this country because we live in a free country. And I think, we will. I want to, the same thing that I feel proud about you. Now, what you're doing now, probably 40 years ago, would never happen. And now you're on national TV. And that makes me proud. And that's the pride that I wanted people to feel about how many opportunities we get in this incredible country.
Well, you're too kind to say that, but I think part of this too is just the broader conversation that we all have as Cuban Americans or Guatemalan Americans or Mexican Americans about what it means to be Latino. So what to you does it mean?
It means to be real. I mean, when I came from my country, Cuba, I mean, I remember with the first time that I went to Sony, and I went 7 times. And they never let me even come into the building. And one time they let me come in, and when I played conga, they told me, you have to change the tumbao, take the trumpets out, trade the percussion. And by the way, they told me, Jan, you have to change your last name if you want to be famous in America. And I said, I want people to know my music and Gloria's music because we're real. We're proud where we came from. But I mean, we grew up in the States. And something for us was it even hard to go to school and pay for school because we didn't have the money. But in the long run, I mean, we became number one, even first in Holland and England and other places in the world, and then we became number one in the States. Now, I didn't have to change my last name. I was proud to represent my grandfather and my dad and my mom. Now, 7 years later, I was president of Sony. And that's when, I signed Shakira and Jennifer Lopez and Ricky Martin and Marc Anthony. I was bringing the Latino flavor to the world, not only the United States, to the world. And, we've been so lucky and blessed with the people, welcome all these people with the new kind of music. I mean, and now we have a second generation that I believe so much is they're Americans. But, something like the Italians and the U.S. community, and they feel proud. They want to keep the tradition. And I'm happy about that. It's important to have be who you are.
You're somebody who's been close with American presidents, who knows a lot of members of Congress, and, occasionally engages in politics, or at least gets asked about it. Are you keeping tabs at all on the election coming up next year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally independent. I don't believe in parties. I can tell you that. I believe in a good president a bad president, but every president has good things and bad things. I produced 40 events in the White House. I produced Summit Americas. I mean, I'm a producer. I work on the Olympics and 3 halftime Super Bowls. And, to me, it's important to get near to the president because sometimes you clarify things that they have a lot of questions. And I think, something they need to feel the love of the Latino community. Now, we're becoming more and more powerful when it comes to the spending, about the being a customer that to a lot of the big corporations but more than anything else, political, we're becoming important. I think it's important they feel that the same love that we have for them, they have to have the same love for us, and to be sure that they have to recognize that we love this country and how lucky we are and how thankful we are. And I think I always said, great communication make things happen. And, sometimes it's good to be close to the president.
Well, so if the current president or vice president were to call you and say, Emilio, you understand the Latino community better than most. What do I need to do to boost my numbers among Latino voters? What would you tell them?
I would say that let's do a conga so people go and vote in the conga line. So I'm not a political guy. I mean, I believe that, what we have that we don't have in our country? We have a dictator in our country over 60 years. At least you can change the president of the United States. They need to listen to the president. What is they propose? A lot of time they propose a lot of things, and they never come through with what they propose. When they are in an election, they say, I'm going to do this, and then they forget. So what I'm saying, I think it's a great thing that we have many ways to communicate people now, including internet. People have a lot of opinion, but listen, it's a big job, and I think it's excellent to have a lot of Latinos around them because they know a little bit more about the Latino community.
So you're somebody, as you pointed out, that helped launch the careers of Ricky Martin, Mark Anthony, Jennifer Lopez, Shakira. Who are you listening to these days that has the potential to become the next one of those?
Something nowadays you get a number one, and by the way, number one song in Billboard and totally Spanish. That never could have happened 40 years, 30 years, 20 years ago. And now it's becoming, more, what I listen to a lot of young people. I love to listen to the new sound. We're doing a lot of mix of sound. I just finished the Wailers album and the Bob Marley's band. And, I just finished the Rabanes from Panama. And they are a huge success. And what I think because we grew up in America, we combine a lot of the sounds from, from Cuba, from Mexico, from Guatemala, from the Jamaica, and that's what I love. I mean, I think the world is becoming a lot smaller because, the internet is really showing a different education and music that we didn't have many, many years ago. And I hope people have more communication in the world and, something. And listen, whatever my feeling always said, whenever a president becomes the president, we have to support them and to be sure to help this incredible country.
Whenever a Latino becomes president?
I don't know about that, but it's going to be soon. But maybe one day.
Or you're saying whoever becomes president, we have to support them. That's what you're saying.
You have to. They have 4 years to prove themselves, and then people will decide. Listen, American people too smart, and they're going to come back and say we want them back, or we want a new president.
All right.
You should be running for president. You should be running for president.
No, thank you. You should, if you could, you should be running for president. Well, look, you're getting this honor tonight from the Recording Industry Association of America, their Industry Trailblazer Award. That's certainly one description for you. We appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to us. Congratulations on that. And good luck with the museum. If people want to learn more about the museum, where should they go? Is there a website or somewhere they should visit?
They have the website, the Latino Museum of the American Latino, and they find a lot of things. Like I said, so to me, this is a celebration of the American dream, that we're going to play a tribute and with a lot of respect and thankful to this incredible country. So I hope it will be a lot of communication, a lot of conversations, but at the end, I believe in America, I believe in the American people, and I believe a lot in the Latino people who's going to come with the money to support this and make history. And that's going to be a day of celebration, not only here, to show when people come to all over the world, they will be able to see all the histories and all the elements and the contribution the Latinos done in the States.
All right. Emilio Estefan, thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you so much for this.